One. What's up, guys? StudFit here. We now have episode 33. Welcome by a number of my good friends and family around the community. Most obvious person you're familiar with is Karim. Welcome, Karim.
Hey, buddy. Good to see you again. And first of all, wanted to say congrats on the 2K. I was very, very happy to hear that. Very well deserved. Good to see Loblob again. We had a pretty cool chat last time, and all the other names I'm very familiar with. So I'm really looking forward to this episode. It's good to see everyone.
Awesome, man. Yeah. And by the way, I hadn't mentioned this yet, but just as a brief surprise, one of the reasons you were invited to this specific episode is Hero knew it was your birthday. So this is a birthday present from Hero.
Thanks, Hero. Thank you.
So and happy early birthday. So who knows? Maybe at the end we'll sing a little song. But happy early birthday, Karim.
Thank you.
Good. And going to our super stud. Welcome back to Bobcat. How you doing, man?
I'm actually getting over like some kind of cold, but no, I'm happy to be here. Talk about all the changes and everything. So just excited to answer some questions. But congrats on the 2K, man.
Thank you guys both. I appreciate that. And any major thought processes on how you did last time, or what your experience was with Kart Talk last time? You do anything different preparing for today?
I mean, I read the questions in advance as they were coming in a little bit, so I'd kind of have some things percolating and things like that. But I still have my notepad and stuff, so that helped last time. I kind of opened it up and started typing stuff in so I wouldn't forget something, or even better things come up like as other people are talking and you get some other ideas. So just, yeah, pretty fun.
Yeah, our conversation goes any which way. So we do send out some questions beforehand. We rarely get to them all, and we typically deviate and kind of go down a tangent as we go through. But as Karim mentioned, he was on an episode last with Loblob. This is Lob's second Kart Talk. So going from one Bob to another. Welcome, Loblob. How are you doing, man?
Hey, doing well. Congrats on your 2K. Hopefully this one is unmuted. I was watching your stream yesterday, and that was actually really entertaining. I loved it. You just looked so happy, and you could tell that like you were saying good things about all your fans. So I really enjoyed that.
I appreciate it. It was one of those moments I was the most heartfelt during those moments. You could not hear me whatsoever than I was on any of my content ever. So I'm sure it was really strange to not hear. But yes, thank you. I appreciate you just hit 2,000 subscribers. By the way, I am wearing my Matt Aldridge t-shirt here, rooting for Matt and Draco655. So close to 1,000 subscribers. It's one of my personal missions to help bring other new YouTubers. We also found out yesterday Snout the Tinker has his own YouTube. So we'll put that link in the description too. There's so many channels now. It's actually hard to keep track of, but supporting them all. I try to watch them all. I subscribe to them all. And so it's fun to see them as they're up and coming. Two names you probably have heard, but now you get to finally see their faces and hear their voices. Well, I'm joined by aturtledude and KoopaV. We'll start with you, aturtledude. You might have heard his name on the rundown this past week as we broke down some additional information. One of the areas that you heard his name was around the coverage and specifically the coverage optimizer, which I discussed, but then the pairing. So some of the top drivers, karts, and gliders that paired really well with some of the top 10 items that we featured. So aturtledude, tell us a little bit about the technology behind the scenes on your coverage optimizer, but then also before you do, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're calling from, and how you got started in Mario Kart Tour.
Yeah, I'm calling from Berlin, Germany. I grew up in Mexico, but I've been living here for a while. And yeah, I started playing around I think it was the Flower Tour. So about 6 months, March or April 2020, during the pandemic. Then I played for a few months, then I had another break for like 6 months, and then I came back. So in total, I've missed about around 1 year of the game. Yeah, but now I don't think I'll be taking any other breaks soon. And yeah,
so your background, your actual like work background is probably around some development and stuff. How did you start to kind of put the two and two together, Mario Kart Tour and the technology?
So my background is actually in maths. Also, I also do quite a lot of programming for work, so a bit of both. And yeah, so that's also what motivated me to write this tool. So I've recently developed or released 2 web apps in the past few weeks, actually. One of them, the coverage optimizer, had already been in a beta version forever, and actually Kevin Garrett had been using it a lot for producing material for his channel. And yeah, both of them are based on something called mathematical optimization or linear programming, where essentially you just it's a very general tool. So you just model a problem with something that you want to minimize or to maximize, and you have certain constraints, and then you just throw it into the computer and it solves it for you. So yeah, these 2 tools, the coverage optimizer, what it does is it finds combinations of small size of items that have the largest coverage possible, and you can tweak it and fine tune it to your own needs and inventory. And the second one, the ticket optimizer, is maybe not useful for that many people. It's useful. I started it when I went for my first ACR, when I thought I just wanted to go all in and spend every ticket I had, and I had no idea how to do that, and it just felt super frustrating. So then I started thinking there must surely be a way of doing this in a more systematic way. So now I implemented this thing that's actually reverse engineers or re-implements every formula in the DKR sheet, and then finds, you enter how many tickets you have, and then it calculates where exactly to put your tickets to maximize your score for that, your estimate for that tour. So it's not something for a long-term strategy. It's just for those people that go all in every now and then. Yeah, and both are now available. So
yeah, we'll make sure that both links will be in the description. And Karim, have you used this ticket optimizer? I'm sure you probably have found your own systems manually to do it, but curious, were you familiar with that tool?
I heard Kevin Garrett mention it a while back, and I've heard people start talking about it. And I'm someone who's kind of set in their sort of ways, but then when I get introduced to something new, I can very quickly then. It's like actually just hearing aturtledude speak, I feel so stupid. I'd spent, like last week, I spent hours making an Excel spreadsheet where I could put in the tickets I'm getting in daily selects that will then show up the percent, how often I get them and what percentage of them are cap ticket. And it took me like ages and dealing with blanks in Excel, and it was breaking my brain. And then here we're talking about optimization, linear program. Yeah, it puts me to absolute shame. Like, no, it sounds absolutely, it's right down my street. I love that sort of stuff. So I am definitely going to dig into it. Absolutely.
Very cool. Well, if your brain hasn't been broken yet, our last guest will potentially break it just further, just stomp on it into tiny pieces. KoopaV, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. Thanks for having me on, and congrats on 2K.
Thank you. 2K from the UK. We've got 2 UK guests here. So KoopaV, most people have heard your name here recently as really the data miner extraordinaire. I know, we've been relying a lot on SAMIT and some other data miners over the last couple of years. But tell us a little bit about your background, how you got started in Mario Kart Tour, and then how you started data mining here in the game.
So yeah, I'm a day one player. I started in the New York tour. Started off just as a normal player playing through the tours, quite casually, not competitive. And then I think it was about Los Angeles tour where I started taking a proper look into how the game was working internally and what was going on in the background, because obviously that's interesting. So it started off when I made some exploration videos for the city tracks, where I'd download the model, put it into Unity, and program in some sort of first-person control so I could wander around, and everyone seemed to like that sort of stuff. And I just got more and more into the data mining of the game, and I've been making bigger discoveries as time's gone on. Obviously, probably one of the most notable discoveries was when I found the battle map music in the files early, so we got to know what sort of tracks will be coming soon. And yeah, I plan to keep data mining for the future. I don't have any plans to stop anytime soon.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, we're it's crazy how much we rely on so much of the what you guys do in the data mining world to be able to try to put together the pieces. And for us as a lot of my viewers, a lot of my subscribers, members are really focused in on optimization and investments and really the strategy of it. There are a lot of great content creators who do more of like the modeling and like ideas and stuff like that, but we like the hard facts. So you bring us the facts. We really appreciate you delivering those at our doorsteps every tour, and really appreciate that. Curious, as you've done some data mining here recently on this tour, is there anything that we've missed, anything that no one's talking about, or what's a unique find that you found here recently?
I think one of the main things is that people are complaining about spotlight shop prices being too high. And there is just one little thing in the code which was added with this update, that the Spotlight shop will support discounts. Whether Nintendo will make use of these discounts anytime soon, or if they'll even use them at all, I don't know, but they're there and they can be used, so we'll just have to be hopeful, really.
I'm sure that would make a lot of people excited, but yeah, actually, in fact, most of the questions that we got submitted through the members were around the Spotlight shop. So I know that'll be a major point of discussion here today. But before we do, we'll kick off a little icebreaker, and we'll go. We'll actually start with you, Bobcat, since it's your question. You want to read us off our little icebreaker today?
With all the changes, what is your favorite, and what change didn't happen that you still want to see come in the future? So I was really excited about the premium challenge kind of thing we were talking about. The plus, it kind of is like a platinum now, which is great. But the biggest change that I feel like they could have made to kind of make things a little bit easier on people, especially give them a lot more to do, and it would have helped around battle mode, was maybe more standard challenges. So maybe going with like 2.26 or 2.7 or whatever, and then actually adding in more advanced challenges, which is what I wanted to see, like super leaf and bell hits and those kinds of things, that people can get some of those things. So I would still like to see that come to the game in the future.
Love it. We'll go from one Bob to another. What would be your answers to with all the changes? What's your favorite, and then what change didn't happen that you still have to see come in the future?
So I like the concept of all of the pipes that we get to fire that are like free pipes and the tour gifts. A little disappointed that they also introduced new daily shop common items, the carts and the new glider in the super category. So I am coming from a perspective of, I had the normal items all maxed out and the super gliders, and then this comes out and kind of sets me back, and it's I'm just not in a position to take all that stuff up to level 8 without buying it through the shop, and with no special pipes to throw all your rubies at. You're not going to be getting very many dupes of the blue bitty buggy, so I'll be buying it in the shop. So I think that's what I'm disappointed with. I mean, I actually really do enjoy the battle mode, though. Like it is, even in single player, it's like a different strategy, different way of driving, like just bring something new to the game. So I have been enjoying that.
Okay. All right. Well, going from your perspective to somebody who's been buying up every single normal and super ticket for the last 6 months or so since level 8 came out, Karim, I doubt you had any. Do you have your daily selects maxed out at this point, or what's been? I know since you saved all those tickets, you bought all those tickets. Just curious, what's like the super whale at when it comes to those daily selects?
Well, yeah. So I immediately maxed all the carts in the normals. I deliberately didn't touch the supers out of the superstition that we had last time, which was as soon as you finished off the last sort of super category. It would have taken a hell of a lot of tickets, actually. I do have enough, but it hasn't made any kind of difference. I hear you saying you're getting 2-3 tickets per day. With my wonderful Excel spreadsheet I've made, I'm averaging 0.75 tickets a day, and like 25-30% of them are items that are like useless to me. So it hasn't. Yes, I have maxed out all the normals and the supers basically. In terms of what, I mean, I know this actually came before the. I like the fact that the way the lobby thing is, and it's quite good for the tokens. I can just do runs and get high scores and still collect all the tokens. That's and dealing, with boomboxing and all that. So that's still the highlight. I'm glad there's a few more quick tickets because getting one every 2 weeks was just,
tough, yeah.
especially with someone like me who's dying to get high-end tickets in their shop. Still three. I would like them to actually appear in the actual shop. I'd buy them. Definitely if they could, if they would appear. But in terms of what, I mean, I wasn't really sure what to expect. Anything, I wasn't desperately waiting for something. In terms of the battle mode, I'm just getting used to it. I'm not entirely sure on the science. I'm the sort of person, I wait for other people to unveil what's the best thing to do, and then I'll just copy it. So at the moment, I'm still sort of flailing around a little bit, not entirely sure. Should I use Coinbox? Do I use Lucky 7? Do I go for 90 seconds? I'm not particularly thrilled that they're in ranked, I'll be honest with you. But I like something different. I always like something different, even if it's bad. Something different for me, makes me think. So yeah, I'm as long as I'm putting up pretty good scores, I'm reasonably happy. So yeah.
Overall, relatively generally happy with the update. That's good to hear. We'll get into a little bit more of the spotlight shop and battle mode, etc. here in a second, but it's always good to hear your perspective as being the super whale kind of on the group. aturtledude, tell us a little bit of all the changes. What's your favorite, and then what change didn't happen that you thought might come in the future?
Yeah, I mean, so in general, not so much for me, but in general, I'm quite happy that the gacha is gone. I think that's overall by itself a good thing, and quite a big step. For me, myself, I don't care that much because I was used to saving rubies for emptying the pipes and so on, but I think for many people it will make a big difference. But I think for me personally, I do like, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the prices, but I do like having all these options and being able to, really go for the things that you had really wanted for a long time, and that now you have so many things available at the same time. So I think that's a good thing. And as for some things that I didn't like, I don't know, it would have been, for example, good if they had kept, it's a shame that now you cannot get the new spotlights as freebies. I mean, it didn't happen very often, but it was a cool thing, especially for free-to-play players. And now you have lots of free pipes, but they're all from the permanent high-ends or permanent pool. So that's a bit of a shame. I don't know. I'm sure there are more, but nothing that comes to mind right now.
Yeah, I will say though, the odds of getting a free new spotlight is just as equal to that new spotlight being at the very bottom of the pipe. So it's that's one of the things about the gacha, right? So yeah, you could totally be lucky one day, and you could totally be unlucky another day, and go. How many rubies did you go into before you got King Mario, Karim? How many? Do you remember? You were trying to
just under 1,300.
Wow, just to get King Mario.
And after I shared that, I've had about 9 people who have messaged me, like, privately, ranging between 800 to 1,500, sharing their despair. I'm not going to name any of them, but that definitely, as aturtledude just mentioned, I do not miss gacha at all. So
yeah, we'll get into that around the spotlight conversation, but yeah, I mean, a lot of these comments all kind of bleed together because it's just it's a new world. It's kind of exciting, but also a little intimidating too. But KoopaV, with all the changes, what's your favorite, and then what change hasn't happened that you could see happen in the future? You probably have a little bit better of a crystal ball as to what that could be potentially too.
I really like balloons. But
Okay.
I was looking forward to them for so long, just different balloons, different design, and I just really love how Nintendo's made it so that purely cosmetic collectibles. So there's no stress of having to collect every balloon to get a higher score. You just get them, choose which one you want, and show off in battle. And good news for everyone else who likes balloons, there's many, many more to come.
Woo! Do you have a number?
There's at least 30 more planned.
Wow, 30 more balloons planned. That's insane.
Um,
Yeah, I will say that was what I was the most nervous about coming into this update was, do I have to now like level up balloons? I'm like, because I think as a whale, you're like, I want the best loadout. So now like thinking about coverage and now thinking about a new asset that I have to like take up to level 7, level 8 and double uncap and triple uncap. I'm so glad that that's not applying to the balloons and they kind of stay in the battle mode. I'm really happy about that. Well, good. Appreciate everyone's feedback there. For me, I would say the best update is what Karim mentioned, which is that try again button. I know it kind of came out last tour, but by far the best I mean, my favorite things that Nintendo's done is the quality of life features, such as restart or try again. I still think my favorite feature of all time in the game is just at any point in time, you could just swipe up and the game is paused. Like that is my favorite. If it did not have that, I probably would have quit this years ago because my life is just so hectic. I have to pause it all the time. And like just having like one swipe up, I don't know, to me, like that's bliss. So like more quality of life things is what I would like for them to do. And I think, I mean, honestly, most of those have been a surprise. So I didn't necessarily have one like in mind that I would hope to see in the future, but keep them coming, Nintendo. The more that you can do like that, maybe even like a mass button for Coin Rush, because right now that's all I'm using my rubies for is this Coin Rush. So that might be a nice feature to see in the future. Cool. Well, Karim jumped into it a little bit, but let's talk about battle mode, right, guys? So this was one where I think a lot of us were so excited about battle mode to see what it would look like in multiplayer. Unfortunately, multiplayer's down. So we were now thrust into this battle mode for just single player, which has a lot of unique aspects to it. So my first question, we'll just start with, do you like battle mode? There's some pros and cons, but as you anticipate it not going away, how will you change your personal strategy, knowing that we have battle mode, battle tracks, that are now part of the All Cup ranking and ranked and single player?
I'll start. So I actually enjoy it, like I mentioned in my intro. I like that it's a different way of playing the game, and I don't expect it to be a ranked weekly event. I think that this is the battle tour. They're highlighting battle mode, but I would expect it maybe, a handful over the ACR, and maybe one of them lands in ranked, maybe it doesn't, but I don't know if I would expect it every week. I don't know. I've enjoyed like filling out my score sheet, my strategy. I didn't have a high level, high-end Lucky 7 or Coinbox for either of them. So I've been using supers. I enjoy that they gave, supers some new tracks. And I just figured out very early that for a super, Peach with the heart skill, it's like you just need to go around, collect actions, stall out the map as long as you can. And you can outscore like the estimate of finishing a race under 90 seconds by a decent amount. But I don't know, I enjoy it.
Yeah, so let me talk about that just briefly. So there is this like secret 90 seconds. There's no clock anywhere or anything like that. But if you finish in 90 seconds, there's this well-played bonus that arguably is the best, not even arguably, it's hands down the best action of all actions, because it's somewhere in the 6,000, 7,000, maybe even 8,000 points. I'm not even sure how that is calculated. I assume it's having to do something with your loadouts, but and maybe KoopaV, maybe you can give us some more clarity on that. But there is this, and it's roughly equivalent to about 40 actions based on your loadout and everything. So, there is this perfect sweet spot of maybe getting like 150 to 160 actions plus getting this bonus. If somehow you are able to get those number of actions in 90 seconds, then then you're just walking away. You've basically broken the spreadsheet and you're done with the track. But I would say that is pretty close to impossible. That's basically like a triple Coinbox frenzy, you know, in like the odds. Like it's really, really tough, I've found, to be able to do that. So I've typically been just kind of aiming for 120, 140 actions and hoping to get that that well played bonus. But there are some people that might be able to get 200 actions with Coinbox and you know, not need that well fought bonus. But there is kind of this paradox of trying to get everything done in time, but also winning the race. So yeah, heart could help you win the race, but is it helping you get more actions? You know, and then you have Coinbox where you're getting a lot of actions, but you're not really hitting people with your Coinbox. So yeah, it's really, really tough. But maybe I'll kind of jump to you, KoopaV, if you don't mind. Any data mining that you found around battle mode is especially around this well fought bonus?
Yeah, sort of. This bonus for finishing in 90 seconds, obviously, it's difficult to find the exact workings of the game of how the points are awarded and how that all works, because a lot of it is done server side. But from what I can tell, yeah, the points are based on, it's a base score which your loadouts and your base points will all contribute towards that. So obviously, if you have triple uncapped items, you're going to get a really massive boost if you finish within 90 seconds, which is nice, but I still think hanging around longer and just not finishing in 90 seconds, you have potential to get you an even bigger score. So I'm not sure how well good strategy it would be to finish in 90 seconds. It's just something we'll have to figure out as time comes on.
All right. Well, what do you think about battle mode? Do you like the battle mode, or you kind of wish you kind of kept separate from ranked and all-cup ranking, etc.?
No, I actually really like battle mode. I'm impressed with Nintendo how they've actually got decent controls, because they could have really messed it up and the controls could have been absolutely horrible. But it controls really well. It's not over broken, because you could have made it so you could get infinite score, and I mean you sort of can, but it's not over broken. It still works with the rest of the tracks in ranked scopes, and yeah.
So let me ask you this: is it basically like running 50cc, or is it just like a completely different like mode? I don't know. It seems like you're kind of moving at normal speed, but like it doesn't. You're not dropping combo quite as quickly or anything like. Is it just a different mode, or is it basically 50cc and that's as simple as it gets?
It's 50cc, but combo time is greatly increased.
Yeah, I will say that from my exploration of it, the combo time is dependent, and this is across everything in the game. The combo time is dependent on your last action score. So if you get a popped a balloon, so you hit a bot with a banana or a green shell or whatever, you get a lot of points for that. Therefore, you also get a long time before you would drop combo into the next action. So you can kind of chain that into, I got to pop the balloon, now let me go look for the coins and not maybe worry about the drift, because you have a decent amount of time before you'll lose your combo.
That's pretty cool. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Bobcat, what's your thoughts on battle mode? You like it? What are some pros and cons, and kind of how you're adapting your strategy? You might be muted. I'm not sure for some reason.
Yeah, I am. Thank you. I try to do that just because I've been coughing and stuff.
Good call.
Yeah, no, I don't like it that much. I'm really excited to see what it's going to be like in multi. I think that's going to be more my wheelhouse. Saying that, it is strangely addictive. I'm not saying that like it's not addictive to play the game and try and figure out. I also didn't know what Loblob said about the points and things like that. So it's very interesting. I knew something was going on because I'm like, how can I get a mini and like I'm losing combo right at the end when I'm like circling around on Cookie? I'm like, it's just so weird. I seem to have so much more time. It's because there's no more balloons to pop and things like that. I'm not getting sevens and stuff. So it 100% makes sense. My strategy going forward is going to be definitely sticking with lucky 7, more of the higher things. I don't even know about boomerang yet. I haven't seen. I feel like you'd have to grind so much waiting for a Coinbox driver to drop coins. For good on you for all those people that were able to do that. But for me, I don't know if that's going to be for me. I think maybe 7s and getting Coinbox. And the last thing I'll say is my best race actually came about 2 hours before the end of the tour. Someone had passed me, and I was like, I'm just going to goof around on battle mode. It's the only thing I can do. I was at like 4,600 with a 6-7-7 across the board, and I was thinking about the well-fought bonus as well. But I got a 7s frenzy, a coin frenzy, and a green shell frenzy, and it ended pretty, right about 137 actions, and I scored like 3,000 more. I think I finished at like 49,800 or something like that. So it was huge because obviously I got the win. Not that I really cared all that much. We'll go that in the future, but I was just goofing around for like 10 minutes, and it seems like coin is actually a bigger deal than what I thought. So it was pretty good though. It wasn't bad, but I'd gotten like 7, and then 2 single 7s to get that 45 score, and maybe picked up some coins along the way, got some other hits, but that was my best score up to that point. And to get a 7s coin and green shell frenzy, 137 actions, and finish at almost 50,000, that was kind of interesting. I'm like, man, I don't know anything about this still. So, and I think a little differently than I do think it's going to show up. I don't think we're going to see it twice in a tour, but when they bring out a new one, I think they might pop it into like the first or second week every so often. I hope they don't bring them out all the time, but maybe KoopaV could say whether or not, they already have like 15, 20 tracks. I don't know. So I think I do still see it in single player, just not as often. Just like a new track coming in.
Yeah, and maybe I'll circle back to KoopaV on this for a second. I know I'm think somebody mentioned in the ER server, I think it was DKR, something about looking back at all the tracks that were in like Game Boy Advance and like battle mode tracks, and so that I think they were forecasting if they brought back every single battle mode track from all of the different systems, they could bring in a brand new battle track for the next 14 tours. KoopaV, any insights as to battle tracks and how many there are, or any more detail there?
Yeah, as of right now, we still only know about the 5 which were originally found: New York, Paris, Cookie Land, GBA Battle Course 1, and Twilight House, which obviously the next 2 hot tours, Halloween Tour, Autumn Tour, Twilight House, would make sense to be added in one of those tours. So they could go down the route of making battle tracks a common addition, or we could just be getting a huge wave of them to start off battle modes edition and then have a huge drought of nothing. But there's not much evidence right now of how common battle tracks are going to be, so we'll just have to wait and see.
I do think it's interesting they got some cities in there. aturtledude, what's your thoughts on battle mode?
So first of all, you were asking about the formula for the well-fought bonus, and it hasn't been data mined, but DKRX actually found it just by trial and error because he needed it for his sheet. So I guess he was just looking at these numbers and trying out different formulas until he hit the nail. So it's actually calculated as half of your position points, which depends obviously on coming in first place and your player level. And then that plus 1/4 of your bonus point boost, which essentially is the number of actions and loadouts.
So you'll if you get popped balloons, those are the highest scoring actions. You're going to get a higher well-fought bonus at the end, right? I think is how it would work.
No, I'm not sure. I think those points go towards the bonus points, but the bonus points boost, if I remember correctly, I don't remember exactly, but I think those are more dependent on, it's this sort of constant thing that once you hit the fantastic combo, it's a constant amount for every new action. So I think for that, it doesn't matter whether you pop balloons or not, just how many actions you have and what your loadouts are. But yeah, in particular, I think it doesn't matter whether you finish in 30 seconds or in 89. It's
Okay, that's helpful.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
thank you for describing that. Yeah, the points names, like there's the point boost, then there's the points, then there's bonus point boost and bonus boost, and yeah, it's really tough with the words there. So I appreciate that. But just a turtle dude, do you like battle mode yourself? What are your thoughts?
I actually haven't played it that much. So last week I was lucky and I had a pretty easy group. So in ranked, so in the end, I only played it like 10 times or so and didn't really know what I was doing. So maybe this week I'll have to spend some more time on it. But yeah, so far it's fun. I mean, I think two battle courses per tour is more than enough. I also don't think we'll see it in ranked that often. And yeah, overall, I think it's a good thing, but I'm also excited to see how it works with multiplayer.
Yeah, so it's actually a question that this be Chris has, which is how do you feel about single player mode being in ranked? Do you think this will be the new normal or something we're seeing for this tour to get people into battle mode? As Bob mentioned, this is battle tour. So maybe a raise of hands. Do you think that we will have at least one battle track per tour in ranked? Not two, like how we have in this tour, but one. Raise a hand.
I think one.
One for at least a while.
Yeah, I mean, maybe for a few tours, but not, I don't think for like forever.
I think the fact that it's 5 might be telling the odd number. Maybe they're just going to release one at a time. So that's what the hope is. I mean, they can add more to data mining at any time, but I like my odds with it being 5 that were total. So three left, right? Or is that 5 more?
Yeah, KoopaV, is it 5 total or 5 more? I think it was 5 total, right?
5 total, yeah.
Yeah. Good.
So it will be interesting. Yeah. So they obviously they're introducing 2 at the same time, and maybe that's why they're doing 2 in 2 different ranked battle mode tracks. But yeah, if they introduce 1 per tour going forward, yeah, it might be every other tour. I'm not sure what it'll be like, but I do think it's something we're gonna have to, unfortunately, gonna have to use to. For all cup ranking, it's unavoidable. We got a number of them per tour too. So one of my questions though is looking at battle mode: is Coinbox and giant hitboxes still king? What skills have you found yourself preferring? I know I heard a couple lucky 7s, but anyone can answer this. What skills are you using? Have you found something that was specifically useful for yourself? And is Coinbox still the king?
I think Coinbox is still the king. If you can, get to 200 actions, you're going to have the best score out of all your friends. And Coinbox is the easiest way to get to 200 actions. I mean, I don't know. The heart is interesting. It doesn't get you points, but it stops you from getting killed or removed from the map. So you can extend your play time on the map and get more actions that way. I think Lucky 7 is really a good skill. I don't think Boomerang is very good. I think I've seen that the Coinbox bots don't seem to really get boxes very often, so some of the item probabilities might have changed battle mode. One thing I did notice that's interesting is that, like, when you start a race, you have, it seems like, a very high probability of rolling a blooper, like a single individual blooper, which is, I'm like, that's actually kind of nice. You kind of start out with 7 action. It's like, I don't even know if you ever get another one. Whatever reason, they seem to maybe have like a separate or different item probability table. So just figuring that kind of stuff out is why I enjoy it, because it gives you something else to think about and replay the races back in your head about why did it do that and why is it always giving me a blooper at the start. But I don't know. I think as for hitbox, I think if you are going Coinbox, big hitbox is good. I think if you're not going Coinbox, I think a smaller cart is probably better, just to reduce your profile of getting hit from the side. I've been using on the second week ranked, I've been using the red Offroader with DK SNES. So small driver, big cart. And yeah, you maybe can pick up some of the loose coins a little bit easier with the big cart, but you're also getting, hit by a green shell from the side from one of the bots that you don't even see it coming in, and you're just a bigger cart. So
Well, and Antelev's thought process on like the top 10 is, hey, maybe you take an L on getting hit a couple times in battle mode, but you're only, using that track, one every 12 tracks or so for Alcup ranking and other modes. So yeah, I'm with you there. I'm curious to hear the other viewpoints, but before I do, KoopaV, is there a separate table of probability odds? Is there anything to this surprise blooper at the start?
Yeah, I was going to mention that there is a completely separate item probability table for battle mode. It was one of the first things I noticed when comparing the files with last tour and this tour. And I'm yet to break it down for the exact probabilities, but expect that to be released sometime in the near future when we start to understand how the table works.
cool.
Is there anything else in addition to the blooper that might be more higher likelihood early on or later on, or?
I've not actually looked into it much. Yeah, all I know is that is a separate ID table, but that's about it right now.
Cool. All right. Hey, that's pretty interesting. I had no idea that's something that they could do. I wonder how that works with time and as time goes on. Well, cool.
Who's had a feather frenzy? I saw Samuel.
I had one. It's if you like pretending to be a rabbit, it's cool because you're just hopping around. Like it's pretty useless though. Honestly, if you're talking about frenzies in battle mode, if you're not using Lucky 7 or Coinbox, I think Coin is a great frenzy in battle mode because you just get a lot of actions, and Mushroom Frenzy is actually a really good, can help you. You get double action because you get the action for the frenzy action plus the mushroom. And then you could also get to a different part of the map, maybe drive through a player, pick up coins. So those are the two best non-plus skill frenzies, I think, that I've found. But yeah, the feather is kind of interesting. Like, I don't really get it. Like, okay, it's like a worse mushroom, sort of. And you just kind of are on a pogo stick. I don't know.
I think the strategy for feather is when you do get it, you got to jump on the little like bouncy little thing like in the middle and stuff like that. So you get a lot more jump boost, but that just kind of helps you maybe get to the next side of the box or whatever and get something better than that. But it does get you quite a few more jump boosts. Like mine was like 156 for every jump or something like that. So it wasn't terrible. There's one
also lets you keep combo, I suppose, better than a banana or a green shell, which doesn't guarantee anything, but like a mushroom. I'm surprised we haven't mentioned the auto item thing because I'm just sitting there just going like this the whole flipping time, and then I'm throwing green shells backwards and then forwards, and then I want to turn it to backwards, but like maybe that's just me and my phone. The amount of times I've smashed it, like I've hit a green shell and it's propelling left and right, and I'm going forward, and I know exactly what's going to happen. So there are definitely little things that I found, annoying. There's a bunch of coins and I'm like this far away from them, or item boxes, and then they just disappear. So we've all gone through that. But I was just on my way home, just to get here for this. Couldn't miss this Kart Talk, and I was just on the train, and I'm the sort of person that when I'm grinding Coinbox, I like to grind away the bots and then do it, drunk driving. So I get really slow bots. Whereas this, I could literally, and other people play like this. I don't quite know how, going for high scores, but it was very easy to just jump on battle mode and just go for it. I'm curious to see when I had done it a few times and the bots got, badgeless and rubbish, like they were all dying out really quickly and I wasn't able. So I'm curious to see, as the community sort of gathers more data, whether that actually matters. Are they more, likely to hit you? A whole plethora of things that obviously the angle that you can turn gets, I've overturned sometimes, or trying to do, the way I would turn in a normal track or the way I would go around a corner. And so it's just going to take a bit of getting used to. But I like the fact that it's something different. I just don't want to hold too much of it. And yeah, looking forward to people sort of breaking things down. And I mean, I've seen someone get like 250 actions with Coinbox and stuff like that. So that seems to be the way to go. If I have a Coinboxer, I will definitely go for that. But at the moment, it's just my thumb is not grateful, but otherwise, yeah, it's a bit different.
Yeah, it kind of brings you back to like originally playing the game where you're just trying to figure it out what's going on, like hearing everybody talk about their, random theories, and it's, I don't know, it's like brings that initial joy that we all had when we first started playing the game back to the game. That's what I enjoy about it.
That auto item though, I do find that that is a little bit annoying. Like you're just like literally getting rid of items, and you're just chucking away a green shell, which is just going to come right back at you. You just like, I don't quite know. I understand you'd want items to protect you, but why can you not choose whether you would want auto item on or off? I don't know. Maybe other people have different feelings towards it. Maybe it's something just to get used to.
Yeah, there's just so many item boxes on each course that I think the auto item would be
a little OP.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind that no auto item, just play two-handed.
It's brutal though. Even with like two hands, you're probably touching the screen 100 times per race, just between your two thumbs. So I will say it is exhausting. So there's times where I'm like, I can race in between sets at the gym, or to Karim's point, on the train. But you're doing battle mode and you look like you're spazzing out.
You're like, clear the room. I'm getting ready. Yeah.
It seriously looks like you're having a seizure there on if you're doing battle mode. I'm sure you're getting a lot of crazy stares there, Karim. But yeah, geez, man. I don't know. It is nice that there's some new parts of the game. There's some cool things where like sometimes you're going down a path and you're like, there's like 7 bananas because those guys throwing the bananas from like the sideline, they're just always throwing it like in the same nearly identical spot. So sometimes you go over there, you're like, oh boy. And then you realize I can just turn to this wall and turn around. And like that part of the game doesn't happen in like the normal single player races. So there's like some parts that are really cool there. It's nice that you can kind of keep combo. There's so many times where I'm like, I'm about to drop combo. And then you hit this like really, really late mini turbo. You're like, hey, keeping the combo. There is some, I'm glad that they did some of those things. That is very helpful. But yeah, I don't know. It's there's certainly a learning curve. We're all kind of figuring it out, but I can't wait for Coinbox driver that I actually have at a high level to be on one of these tracks so I can finally enjoy them. But yeah, I don't know. Anyone else want to mention anything about battle mode before we move on?
I had a question for KoopaV about the balloons. You mentioned that like they're not going to impact coverage or anything like that. They're just purely cosmetic. How does it get? And I know I saw in the multiplayer pipe that the balloons are an obtainable item from that multiplayer pipe that they're going to introduce, or they did introduce and then took away after a few hours. How does it, like, if you get a dupe of a balloon set that you already have, do we know, does it give you coins? Like, does it say level up, or you just nothing?
I was discussing this with someone else in the Mario Kart Tour community today, and I believe from what I've seen, once you've obtained a balloon, it gets removed from the pool in the pipe, so you won't be able to get it again. But it makes me think it could also be offered in the token shop, and if you bought it in the token shop when you've already had it, again, would you add a shoot? You can't level them up, that's what I know. Balloons will always stay at level 1 because there are no balloon levels, but I don't know.
All right, so another thing to figure out.
Yeah,
I feel bad. We're like KoopaV, tell us about this, and you're like, we're always expecting you to just break our minds, but it's okay to not know everything. There's so much probably it could probably take you forever to just even to figure something out that we just take for granted. So thank you again for all the hard work you do. Cool. Let's move into item obtainment, because this was where the majority of the questions came, and who knows, maybe this is all we get to talk about today. But there's the spotlight shop, and this is the hottest topic of them all. We'll start with Actually, I think what we'll do is we'll start with my question here about, have you bought any items from the Spotlight shop? And just high level, what's your thoughts on the Spotlight shop? And we'll start with you, aturtledude.
I actually haven't bought anything. I currently have 700 rubies, but still trying to figure out what's the best way to spend them, and waiting for a few things that haven't come up that I might, where I'll seriously going to think. But I haven't done it yet. And general thoughts. Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's nice to have these options, but it's also a bit overwhelming and expensive.
And expensive. Yeah, I was gonna say the biggest question we had prior to the rundown was like, hey, I'm seeing all these awesome items. I want them all. Which one should I get? And that's a tough question to, for someone like me and my channels for us to discuss. And really, I didn't really know the perfect way to answer it, because every account is different. There's nothing to say that one item is, other than like what we already talked about, which is, top skills are best, giant hitboxes are best, coverage is best. And so it's really hard to kind of pinpoint those. We're still figuring things out. I thought of one idea is that, as we talk about the Spotlight shop, maybe kind of give like different, like this one is, the coverage, best coverage option that you see, and just to kind of draw attention to it. But, we really focused on talking about that in the top 10. And I think I saw a lot of people, thankfully, getting the Lightning Streamliner in their shop. And I didn't see I saw some people mentioning that on different servers the first couple of days, but I saw a lot of it Tuesday morning. So I think that the rundown at least was helping people really see the value in some of these items like that Lightning Streamliner. But I don't know if there's a great way to answer that question. I think we're all still a little overwhelmed, because it really is account by account basis. Curious, KoopaV, have you bought anything in your Spotlight shop?
Yeah, I bought the Parapanini this week because I just really like the look of it. That's how I play the game. I don't play competitively, just if I like the look of something, I'll have it, and that's it, really.
I feel like I would get really hungry if I had that one. We'll maybe go from one end of the spectrum to the other. Karim, so what's your thoughts on the Spotlight shop? Have you bought anything, or have you bought everything? This is the real question.
I will admit that within the first 20 minutes of the tour, I bought one of the chocolate pretzel. It was a completely impulse purchase, which I realize now, like if I could go back, I wouldn't do. Once I got my head around it, and I really was like, actually, I really like this, because I can. So from my perspective, where I've got my pillars, I know exactly what I want. I pretty much will own, the only things I will buy would be if a like gold chuck turned up, which he's not going to, or not anytime soon, from what I know. I mean, there are only two carts that interest me, which both have turned up, the Armored Rider and Cupid's Arrow, which I both had at level 3. And I got another Cupid's Arrow in one of the green pipes, funnily enough, which then encouraged me to take it to level 7. Or if a new lightning or blooper glider comes out. I did buy 3 of the Cupid's Arrow. I did buy 3 of the Armored Riders, which I know a lot of people wouldn't do. It's not I wouldn't advise it. I was having a look at my girlfriend's account, which is so new and there's just so much space. I'd be like, oh my God, what do I buy? What do I not? I'd be so overwhelmed. I'm lucky where I'm in a position where I know exactly what I'm looking for. Like, I don't have the Lightning Streamliner. It's turned up, does not interest me at all. So there's actually very few items. And so I'm not needlessly going to be wasting rubies on things. When sorry, I don't know if you were going to mention this, but the fact that there was no week 2 packs, I was completely fine with it. There was nothing of interest for me. I did want to know if the Cupid's Arrow and the Armored Rider could turn up again, but I believe they can't if you've already got them 3 times. Generally, obviously, dupes is not the way to go. We understand that for many different reasons. So I was just quite fortunate that 2 out of maybe like 7 items that I would personally buy happened to turn up. And yeah, like I really, really like that. I'm not needlessly getting things like, Mario Aviator at level 7. Oh my god! I mean, I can't get over that. So I'm.
So do you miss the packs the way they were, or you like this new format better?
My wallet is definitely much more grateful. Definitely much more grateful. Initially, I was like, oh my god, this is so rubbish. Like, you buy the expensive pack, which just gets you one driver. You know, the economy is poorer, but the fact that you can be so much more selective, I think definitely counters that. But as I said, if I was in an account where I had a lot of gaps, it would be a much more difficult decision to make. So I do very much sympathize or empathize with people's accounts that are not as strong as mine. But for me, it works. It's not as exciting. There's not the thrill, obviously, from pulling pipes. But you know, once that 10-minute sort of buzz has gone away, I'm definitely happy.
All right, Bobs, what do you think?
So I personally have not bought anything from the shop. You know, I had a few items that maybe were interesting that I thought about buying, like the 8-bit 1-up mushroom I don't own, the lightning streamliner I don't own, warrior wagon I don't own. But then I looked at them against my account, and I think you know, I have a pretty high level account. I have good coverage. Like, I don't have any maps that I'm lacking coverage on. I have some things, so I'm not buying dupes. I think that Nintendo's strategy with the shop, honestly, and hearing Karim say it kind of validates my point, I think, is that they're trying to widen the base of paying customers rather than getting as much revenue from the super whales and the whale lights. You know, I think that for players that have been playing a couple of years and they have, you know, missing gaps in their coverage, and then they have 90 rubies in their account and they see that one item that comes up, they're like, oh, should I, you know, spend $20 and maybe get it? Like, whereas those players before may have just said, hell no, I'm never buying a pack. You know, it's like, I'm gold pass only. I mean, I think that's their strategy. I think it also, I mean, it goes with all the legislation that's coming, and, you know, European countries banning the game or potentially banning the game. That's my thoughts on that. But I mean, to me, the shop is way too expensive for dupes. Like, why would I buy Chef Shy Guy for 150 rubies? Like, why would anyone buy them for 150 rubies? I think that they're experimenting with the pricing, and I think they're experimenting with the rubies and taking items away from them. I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, 3 months down the road, they start putting an item in with the ruby pack again. Like, just make it more familiar, and they're going to play around with revenue tweaking. Like, they're going to compare their numbers the first tour or 2 tours against, you know, the last 2 tours, and they're going to say, well, we have now, you know, 30% of players versus 10% of the players spending money. That's great, but the overall revenue is down. That's not good. What can we change? You know, they're going to do, you know, analysis like that, I would imagine. And it's interesting. Like, it's cool to see people get excited about, you know, being able to get the item that they've wanted. But for me, it's like, I have coverage everywhere. I think my strategy going forward is not buy dupes.
Buy the Mies.
Buy the Mies. That's the first. That's the meat. You pay the me tax as soon as the tour starts. Every tour.
Yeah.
And for new items, like in a tour, you know, as they introduce new maps and I am losing coverage, I'll start picking up a brand new item versus items that are 3 months plus old. You already know what they cover for the most part. So there'll be some kind of going forward gambling on coverage, but like, it's cool to see, but yeah, the prices are way out of whack. Like, there needs to be discounting. And I think that they'll introduce that once they, you know, play around with things. What is interesting that Karim said, though, to me, is that if you buy an item 3 times, it's never going to come back in your shop for the rest of the tour. So, like, if you were an ultra whale and you bought every single item that's offered, that would only last what, like 3 days? What do they do for your shop if you know, Mr. Unlimited credit card buys everything 3 times as soon as you see it? Like, do you just have an empty void? Does the shop collapse and it makes it easier to get to your token shop? Like,
Yeah, Karim, try that out. Let us know which is.
Yeah. I'll let you know.
I mean, I think there was a video from Carlos. I didn't watch it, but I saw the title, and I think it said something like $500,000 for for buying everything in the Spotlight shop. So I don't think it's going to happen very often.
No, yeah. I think he said it to max out his account. I think originally he said something like 500.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was.
But then I think he changed it. I think he said actually that if you forgot something or missed something, now it's like 650,000. So yeah, either way, yeah, it's pretty.
I mean, it's a lot. Yeah.
After much deliberation, I have chosen not to buy anything from the pipe. I went into it. I was looking at BNG, Ancelo's BNG, and I was really focused on like, man, I could really like, you know, fill some gaps and things like that. But I think the game has changed more dramatically than I thought at first, you know, than just filling in gaps. So, and we can get more into that later, but you know, going back to what Loblob said, I mean, you can whale for $75 now a month. So if they keep the premium challenges, I mean, if they do what they did before and just maybe take the plus away every other tour or whatever, or the plus, I mean, it could be less, but I do see them bringing back packs. I think maybe with just everything that's going on right now, they wanted to set a clear, like, hey, this is what you get in these packs. And I think that special occasions and things like that, they'll bring back rubies and drivers and stuff. I think it's just maybe this tour kind of thing. But we'll see. I mean, it's not that far away. So, but no, I'm not going to buy anything. I actually would recommend that no one buy anything right now. Even if they think, man, I've been waiting for this forever, it helps out my account. I would just, let's see what happens. And if we like, think about this too, like a place will close down if nobody goes there, right? If we don't use our rubies, and we have a plethora, and most people have a plethora of rubies, even if we buy up the premium pluses, they're going to have to do something because, you know, people are just sitting on these rubies. So that would be my recommendation. That's what I'm going to do. And that's really hard for me, by the way. It's not an easy thing. I am I got to get it now kind of person. So.
I hear you're trying to organize a general strike over there.
No, not a strike. No, not a strike. I mean, the thing is I am waiting for 2 players, Rosalina Vondam and Yoshi Gold Egg. So if those show up, those are 100% purchasable items from my account, just because I think the driver is still king. But I actually finished in first at the tier 79 to 80 rank without a top skill glider on the first race, the new RMX donut plane. So, you know, I mean, it's possible. And, you know, luckily having a giant banana and getting 2 of those in a coin frenzy helps. But, you know, it is possible to still do decent in ranked, and you know, maybe that'll come up later. So.
Yeah, no, you bring up a lot of good points here. You know, if you think back about how packs were, you think about if you remember the infamous Ice Mario in a 90 ruby pack, and back in, what was it, the Ice Tour of 2020, and literally that was the only item in that 90 ruby pack when he was the only top shelf driver for that ranked. It made a lot of people kind of pushed away from the gacha in perspective. So, like, you know, I think everyone's good on the right path here when it comes to, like, this is their baseline. If they do have to establish that baseline before they can start giving out things, because when we think we're getting a good deal, or we think that we're actually hey, I'm getting really good value for this pack or whatever, then I think that we're going to be more attracted to it. The one thing I wonder is that they have kind of gotten rid of, like, hey, you know, you're giving you this high end in addition to the premium challenge, or in addition to this pack, or you know, they've gotten rid of the items in our token in our tier shop, things like that, where it's harder to get these specific items except from the Spotlight shop and from these pipes that they've given us. So I'm actually a little bit more, I'll probably take the stance that I don't think that they'll add drivers to packs. I think they'll keep packs the way that they are and make you want to get the Spotlight. But I think everyone's kind of hit the nail on the head when it comes to approaching your Spotlight shop and kind of avoiding, if at all possible. You know, this Be Chris asks, are you treating the Spotlight shop and daily selects as a way to obtain new items only, or are you going to use get them to level 2 or 3? And I think in general, there's some items that you kind of want at a higher level. So for Karim, it's that the Cupid Arrow, it's the Armored Rider. I don't think a lot of people will necessarily be doing that, but I think for I actually think this is great for those gold pass only and like lower accounts, to where before you would have had 450 rubies to get that one item you want. This at least gives you that option to get it. And we all kind of have maybe that's Volendam, or for me it's the tropical balloons. I still haven't seen it at all during this period, this tour, or else I would have got it. But like, we all kind of have these one items that we're waiting for, and I think they're hoping that we quick ticket it or do something to try to get it and get access to it. But I mean, the thing is that these items all kind of coming from like this moving pool. So every tour we'll get like this new pool of things. My guess is that the tropical balloons will be in future pools. And so like, if I go through this whole tour without seeing the tropical balloons, there's probably good odds I'll see it in one of the next 2 tours, just being in ranked or do whatever reason, all the different qualifiers that put it into that pool. So yeah, I'm not too, that's a cool thing about it, is that you don't have to stress about that. If you want it, you can get it. I will say, from a former recovering whale, I have these rubies from just getting the premium challenge plus. And I don't know how often those will be. I don't know if they'll be every tour. I think we're kind of seeing it during the celebration. It's brand new to the tour, so we see it here. We'll see if it continues. But just from that and pulling stuff, I have like 300 rubies, and I'm like, I'm not gonna get. I'm just kind of sitting with these rubies, and honestly, all I've used my rubies for is to get the coin rush, to get coins for my daily selects. And so, I mean, right now there's not really a reason for me to buy rubies, like purchase rubies anymore for me, and unless I went like down Karim's path, there really wouldn't be any need to do that. So I don't know, to me, I see your point, blah about maybe this is helping the casual person buy a pack. I don't necessarily agree with that, because I don't find they're that much attraction. I think that like a $20 ruby with the 45 rubies, getting like that one item you want, most of them are going for that item and also the rubies. Like now it's just the rubies, and they know the spotlight shot will rotate through. I don't know. I'd love to hear from in the comments from those watching at home. Let us know if this would cause you to purchase more. I feel like it actually would make people purchase less. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I want to hear from someone that doesn't say yes. That's what I want to hear. Like, it's a resounding yes for me. So anybody that has a different opinion.
Maybe it's all yeses then.
I mean,
items.
I think like what I say, like when I say like expanding the base, like I think they just want their revenue to not be so dependent on 100 players.
I agree.
Because one of those 100 players decides they quit, and all of a sudden they have a lot less revenue from the game, right? It's not predictable. If you're making things more accessible on an impulse, you get somebody to spend $10 that they had never spent before, you can make up for that if you have 100 of those people. So it's like, that's what I think. Like, I don't know if it'll work. I think other games have probably tried it.
Yeah. Can I agree with you entirely? I think that you're 100% right. I was thinking about this literally last night, or, before sunset, but, think about the amount of people that are going to be coming into the game, and, the amount of high end whales there are. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they've kept this game going and we owe them a lot, for sure. But if we get like 2 million people that bought one pack to start buying $75 a month, they bought, maybe 50, that's $25 more, and you get 2 million more people. I mean, it's really hard for someone like me who plays this game competitively to see all of that sitting. Plus, by the way, they need to get rid of it when it's on my wife's account. She bought the $5 pack, but it says like, hey, you completed the premium challenges. It's not going away. It needs to fix it right now. But it's really hard to be like, yeah, that it's there. So I see like the packs in general, I think, is the premium plus the premium plus specifically, where people weren't buying something that much, and now it's like, but there's 2 of everything in that $19.99. And so like, it's going to be hard to lay off those if you're a competitive player. So I'm 100% in agreement with you. I think it is going to expand the
Yeah.
base. I think it's going to make people spend more money that weren't spending money. And the whales, hey, you know what? You get a little bit of a break, Karim. You have a great account, and
Absolutely. I can envisage, I mean, I'm sure Nintendo will find some way to do something, but barring a new item appearing, which plus skilled or a new huge, cart that appears, unless something like that happens, I could foresee myself, if things followed the same pattern that I'm seeing at the moment, I could see myself not purchasing an item for tour after tour after tour. Which is, the complete reverse from the way that I have been playing, and I am that is more than okay for me. Yeah, I mean that premium challenge plus, but the cap tickets, all that sort of stuff. That to me is what it's all about. So yeah, I'm just waiting for the new items and then build up my tickets and throw them on it. That's the way I see it going.
so you'd use your resources to buy more tickets.
Oh yeah, I mean I've
Yeah.
always sort of done that. I have plenty of resources anyhow. But when I said that I bought 3 times the KoopaV and the I mean literally they are the only 2 carts that I would buy. That there is no other cart that I would do that with. I mean maybe I was just fortunate, or they were like, let's check out what KanyeEast, like what could be tempted with. But I can't foresee that. As I said, the only other thing would be maybe Gold Chuck, and I honestly can't think of anything else that I would go in for otherwise.
Yeah.
So I am very, very grateful.
Karim, do you always have enough coins to buy all the tickets that you get in the shop? Because I know that even Carlos was struggling, and lots of people.
I do. I've got I do. I have plenty of coins. Coins are not an issue for me. I for whatever reason I don't seem to get the higher. So this is a complete tangent. I won't segue, but there's definitely far more to how the way daily selects work. Being the sort of whale that I am, that like they don't give me high end tickets. So I just have, I mean, I say that, but, I'm getting, when everything maxed, I'm getting, 1 every 2 days. And previously with pipes, I've just been slowly, my pool has been increasing. And I made quite a lot of money on King Mario. I will not be honest.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, you got a lot from that.
I think I made close to 1 million coins on him.
Yeah, but from now on, the main source of coins for whales is going to be Coin Rush, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I might run into that a few tours down the road, but it's not going to be something that's going to come in the next month or so. It might be 3 months away. I might end up doing that, but I can totally see, I've spoken to other whales and that is what they're doing, which makes perfect sense. When that happens to me, it will inevitably happen. I will do the same.
Well, I mean, my personal strategy is I'm going to basically just only use my rubies for Coin Rush. And I've had to do it, I think, 3 or 4 times. And this is actually not a bad tour to use Coin Rush. I think you can get like 409. And that's multiplied 5 times if you use your rubies for that.
499, did you say?
409, 409.
409. Okay, 409.
That's the current world record.
Yeah. Okay.
It's I think it's easier and it's a short track, but yeah, it's not a bad one to do. But I've been doing it like as I need it, and I actually surprisingly had more tickets than Karim in my shop this tour, which is really surprising. But my goal in saying that is, I think whatever will happen is I'll get to the end of the tour, and if I have 100 rubies left or 150 rubies, I might just get the new driver. I might get Luigi or something like that. But it's all going to depend on how many rubies I have left based on everything that I've done that week when it comes to the Coin Rush. And I think that's kind of the way I'll be doing it until I see further, guide me in a different direction.
I think my strategy for rubies is keep enough to buy a new driver if it's a good, they release a new Coinbox driver and a good cart or something like that, just to have 300 on hand if the prices stay the same. where
Actually,
I'm
that's actually
not
a question
struggling.
That's actually a question that Stupendous puts out there, which is, we've kind of been programmed for this minimum of like rubies I need at any given time to be 450 in order to be able to clear that 100 pipe with the spotlight that I want. What is that magic number now? What's that minimum number of rubies I should be having at any point in time, knowing that the spotlight prices and maybe they release one driver kart glider per tour, maybe that's 350 if you try to think about all those, but maybe if you get two different sets, 700. We'll start with you, KoopaV. What's the minimum of rubies that you feel like you need to have going into any tour?
I mean, obviously it's changed since the days of pipes, because you don't need to have a over amount of rubies like 450, but honestly, I'm not sure. We're only on the first tour of this new system. It's difficult to tell what the future will be like. Will Nintendo put like 9 new spotlights in the shop one tour, or will they just put one? It's difficult to tell right now. And hopefully we're not going to get 9, but we'll just have to see.
StudFit will be doomed when they come out with 10 versions of the MK3 B Dasher. The next version.
So my thoughts are, I think I'm going to try and stick with like 1,000 in the shop before I start really hitting coin rush. But I think it does depend on where you're at. So like if you have a ton of coins like Karim or some other people that have kind of stored them up and you're not getting a lot of high end tickets in your shop, I can definitely see you using some of those for coin rush. But that's kind of the point, is like, rubies now is a coin resource. So that's, something that you kind of want to hold on to. Like most people held on to their, like, I wonder what the record is right now for the person that had to do all of their coin rush tickets that they've been saving up forever. Like, was it 100, 200, 300? Like what were they trying to do? And now they're like, well, I might as well use them because I'm going to actually use rubies, because it was kind of pointless other than that. And you were just kind of storing them to see if Mario Kart was karting you, to be like, well, you don't have enough coins, we're going to throw a high end in there. And then you'd use like 10 to 15 of them to get the high end tickets. So, it's just something that I'm going to try a new strategy of the game and try and get as high as I can in my ruby count. Again, like next tour, I mean, maybe a Red Boo comes out with a lucky 7 and I don't have a high end driver. I'm going to go in on that. So that's the goal for me. That's the mission, but I'm going to just try and soar up rubies, and then hopefully we see some discounts. Hopefully we see some things change. So
I would generally say that if I'd have 150 for a driver, probably 100 for a kart or glider, so that's 250, and I'd probably have another 70 for a me. Like, I personally would always get one of the me's, so 320 I think is a reasonable sort of, like, let's just call that 400, because we are getting quite a few rubies through the tour as well. So if you want to play like that game, the 450 game, make sure you've got that. I think that's a reasonable sort of number to make sure you've got. But that, as the way things are currently, shouldn't be too difficult. If they're just offering a really kind of not great driver and a banana glider, which I know, Banana Republic will hate me for this, but I hate banana and green shell gliders. I will not touch them. But if all of a sudden next tour there's a lucky 7 driver, there's a boomerang driver, there's a big kart, there's a lightning glider, then all of a sudden this whole thing changes. At the moment, none of the items are that enticing at all. I mean, Nintendo's definitely going to mix that up. They can't. Something's going to change. I think somehow.
Yeah.
So I agree with Bobcat that it's too early to say what's the magic number, because we really just don't have enough data and experience. But also I would say, like, if you play strategically, that basic idea of saving rubies until you have 450 and everything over 450 you can just spend away, that's not such a great strategy to begin with, in my opinion. So I think in general you should save as many rubies as you can, and then only spend them if there's something that you really need or that you really want. Not say, oh, I have a lot of rubies, I'll just buy this because it looks cool. And yeah.
Would you spend them for a high-end ticket in your shop? or would you hold on to them for an item?
The rubies, you mean?
Yeah, so I'm saying, would you save it potentially for a new item next tour, but there's a driver in your shop, a driver high-end ticket?
Yeah, good question. I don't know. I think for myself personally, the mental barrier of doing coin rush is still too high. I don't think I'll be doing it anytime. But yeah, but also I find it a bit silly how they make you, especially for whales, like now that they've removed all the packs, now you can really buy all of the packs with not as much money as whales were spending. So the next thing is to actually buy rubies straight, like from this bottom of the shop. Just straight dollars for rubies, and then those rubies you turn into coins, and the coins you turn into tickets. Why not just sell you the tickets in the first place?
Is it true that the prices, I mean, you're in where you are, did they just suddenly go up like after the first day or something? Did I hear this, that some places the cost of packs or whatever just went up like 20%? Like I know that they had said that there was going to be increase in prices in certain areas.
I think that was iTunes Store and Google Store conversion rates all changed. I don't think that was Nintendo driven. I think it was the Apple and Google changed their conversion because the currencies are all in flux right now.
Well, the pound is doing horrendously, but
yeah,
prices didn't go up over here. So,
right, and the dollar is strong. So anybody buying back into dollars, which is how the game works, is kind of getting screwed. So,
well, I said to StudFit, I think it was like, because people, they'll get someone in a, it used to be like you ask someone in America to buy rubies for you, log in, and because obviously it was much cheaper. We're at a point where I'm like, hey, StudFit, I can buy them for you now, basically cheaper here in the UK almost, because like
the other way around,
we almost reached that point.
Some forex arbitrage over there.
Yeah, exactly. It is some big time arbitrage going on. I mean, it's happened obviously before, but it seems to be sort of as America's dollar seems to be trampling over everybody at the moment.
Well, certainly everything's been in flux this year financially across the board. So it's been a weird year. Who knows? Maybe the euro just all of a sudden just goes crazy, and now that's the strong value. We won't know exactly, but I think that's not necessarily related to the game. I think it has just to do with this crazy world that we're in and the inflation that we're all kind of seeing in different ways across the world. I do have a question for KoopaV from Crazy. He said that the Gold Bullet Blaster cart from the Bowser Tour is confirmed to appear in the Spotlight shop, but we have not seen any traces of Gold Charging Chuck. Do you think we'll see the elusive Gold Charging Chuck and King Mario in the shop anytime soon? What have we found so far in the data mining around Gold Bullet Blaster, Gold Charging Chuck, and what field or pool of items that we get access to?
Personally, Gold Charging Chuck, King Mario, Nintendo clearly tried to make them rare items, so I don't think they'll be obtainable in the Spotlight shop anytime soon. And even if they are, it's going to be really unfair to the players who spent like loads and loads of rubies on them just for them to appear a couple tours later. So Nintendo, surely they wouldn't, but they might put them in the Spotlight shop. No evidence that they'll happen. I don't really have any data mine stuff other than what has been shared so far about Spotlight shop.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think that they'll wait as long as they can. We kind of have up to this ice cream tour, and that's what 4 or 5 tours ago. It might take 4 or 5 tours for us to see Gold Charging Chuck and Gold Mario again. It is weird that we see this Gold Bullet Blaster, but I think that's because they're pulling from this 3% gold odds for whatever it's worth. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Will we see Charging Chuck, Gold, or King Mario anytime in 2022?
I think we'll see. Oh, sorry.
So I would just very quickly say that let's not forget that Bowser Santa went a whole year without reappearing, which I very much hated. I I could see them maybe at some point in like a couple of months, or maybe 3 months, you might see gold charge and chuck. I mean, maybe not, but King Mario might not turn up for another year, which I think would be quite a reasonable thing for them to do. And I hope they bloody well do it.
I kind of hope they do. Go ahead, Aturtledude.
Yeah, so I think we will probably see gold chuck sooner rather than later. The thing is that there are several other gold items that are not there. So I think the gold super cannot appear in the pipe, and obviously the gold balloons are also quite new, but even some other ones like the gold train, for example. So I think also within the gold items, it will not always be the same gold items appearing every tour, but there will also be some sort of rotation. I think, because there are several missing. So I think there's a good chance that we will see him, but the odds will be tiny. So same as now, like how many times have you seen gold Yoshi in your shop? So those have gold items have a very, very small probability of appearing. So even if he appears, it will just be a few select people that get him. And I don't think that's going to massively change. I mean, it won't be the same as if he came back as a spotlight in a 50 pipe. So I don't think it will be a massive disruption. And about King Mario, I think what he has going against him is that he's a city driver, and we know that they make an exception for this first or second category. The first, essentially city drivers have some sort of special treatment where they don't appear in the shop. So I think that will sort of even when he should appear, then if this cycle of 4 tours really continues moving along, and we start getting things from the Sunday tour next time, even if that happens, when King's Mario turn comes, he will probably still not appear in the shop because he's a city driver.
And when you say city driver, there's like this Volendam or like this Lederhosen or some of these guys that are and gals that are tied to a city for whatever reason don't seem to be in this pool. Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that, Karim, until you said that. But if you think about like the B-Dasher Mark IIs and some of the other anniversary items too, like haven't come back around in the general pool. So maybe they wait until next anniversary to even bring him back, kind of similar to Mario said. I hadn't even thought about that, but now that I'm thinking about it, both city and also anniversary, thinking about the B-Dash Mark IIs, that's certainly possible too. And I think honestly, the way that he was so rare to get makes it just, I don't know, it makes too much sense to do it that way. Were you gonna say something, Bobcat?
Sir.
No, I was going to say, I mean, I think that Nintendo knows we all value those gold carts as trash. So
yeah,
they're fine putting them in there as a filler. But they know that like Gold Chuck and King Mario are different, and they're going to have their own special tier. And, they might even be the featured spotlight, like, show up for the whole week, something when they do bring them back. Like
that gold standard, I have like 4 exclusives right now, and my account's pretty decent, but it already has 4 exclusives. Maybe the Sweet Ride will give me a little bit more as well. The gold Sweet Ride. I'm not putting tickets on right away.
Yeah, I would. Long term, they seem to have pretty low value. One of the biggest regrets that I have in this game is I got the gold egg, I think, whenever it debuted, and I noticed it was in ranked 1 or 2 tours in a row, and I took it up to level 6, and it's cursed me ever since, where it's like, on those tracks, it's my best option, and it is a tiny cart, and I hate using it. And I've like been, slowly over time upgrading other things that'll take tracks away from it. And I'm like, so I don't know. The gold carts generally they're a filler. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't build your account around them, I guess, as well.
I wouldn't either. Yeah, but I don't think you're the only one, Bob, and just in like, especially the ones who have been playing the game for a long period of time. I like the Gold Cheap Charger still has 6 tracks for me, just because it just had those tracks, and I had it at level 7 pretty early. But yeah, in general, probably don't invest in gold items for whatever reason. They just kind of gold carts, that is, may not even have that value. But yeah, I don't know, it's interesting. One question that Millie has, which is when does it make sense to re-roll your daily spotlights? Is this ever a good idea? When is it a bad idea? What's the best use for that quick ticket? Is it the spotlight shop, or would it be better to do the daily selects? And KoopaV, you want to answer that one first?
as a casual player, it's difficult really for me to give advice to other people, but personally, I think daily selects is much more valuable option to use the quick ticket on, because you get that chance of the high-end tickets, which you could be able to spend the coins on to level up your drive as well. The Spotlight shop, you still got loads of expensive items, which will probably just come up another day, and you've not even got that great a chance of getting something you want, because if you're just patient enough, it'll come up eventually.
Everyone agree with that? Anyone disagree?
I have a personal experience. I mean, I wasted my tickets right away on it because I heard that Yoshi Gold Egg was in there, and then I found out it's like on, especially on Kart Talk, that it's like 0.000 like 1%. Something stupid. So I wasted them, and I'm only 3 common gliders away. So if I would have waited and used it on my daily selects, I would have it maxed out right now. So I think that maybe if you're at the end of the tour, you don't like the Spotlight drivers option, and there's a driver in there that you haven't seen, it might be worth going into. But other than that, I can't think of another reason why you would.
Can I go to the daily select strategy on quick tickets that I use?
Let's do it.
If you're only 3 away, you should not use the quick tickets to get there 3 days faster. You should wait until that category is cleared and then use them, because you have a much higher chance of getting a high-end ticket once a category is cleared.
That would have been smart. Definitely better than wasting like 5 on the shop.
I think for anybody, like if you're close to having any category cleared, like, or getting a second category or something, just wait a few days, because the way this shop works is that it picks from a pool of items, and if you are missing only 3 gliders, you're going to see that glider 3 days in a row. So I'm in a holding pattern with my quick tickets until I get the plaid ribbon.
So in the Spotlight shop, if you use a quick ticket, can you use multiple quick tickets in a day?
No,
or just one?
just one.
Okay, same as with the daily selects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I would say I would actually save those tickets. Definitely not use them on cups unless you have a very good reason. But I think I would. I mean, yeah, for those that are not really getting that many tickets in daily selects or don't have a slot, which is still, I think, quite a lot of people. I think the best use would be to just save them and then use them whenever there's something that you need for ranked, like in that week, and that is in the Spotlight shop, and that it would be really good for your account. And if it's not showing up, then really just try to improve your chances of getting it when you need it. But otherwise, like I don't see other better uses.
I think daily selects is going to be your best option to use that ticket. I think most of us are in agreement there. But yeah, I would wait. I mean, unless there are also times where you might have things maxed out, but you're like, to Karim's point, your shop's kind of shut down for the time being. I probably wouldn't use it now, just out of more superstition than anything, but like do it when it's flowing. Like so this week, for whatever reason, my shop has been going pretty well. So I've used the quick ticket, I think 2 or 3 times, and each time I got at least 1 ticket. So yeah, for me, or you could wait and use it when you have coins too. So I think there's a lot of unique strategies. Like for me, I'm probably at this point, I did not do another quick ticket today because I knew I'd be running low on coins, and I'd probably then run low on rubies too. So there's kind of this flux of from that perspective of when to use, when not to use it. But I would wait until at least 3 or 4 categories have been maxed before you even think about it. Just store them up now, and then if you go for that top 100 run, you go for that top 10 run, maybe even top 1,000 run for all cup ranking, then just use it all 14 days, just 1 a day for 14 days, and really help you in case you get more. But yeah, I would just save them, wait for them, wait for the right moment. I think of them like as desperation tickets, more than anything else. Like try to hold on to them as long as possible until that moment where you absolutely need it for ranked, you absolutely need it for top 100 or whatever it might be. Then go balls to the wall. So anyone else want to mention more about this?
They're equivalent to like a $2 scratch off lotto ticket that you win $2 on, and you can then take it and get another $2 lotto ticket with. Like I mean, They're fun. Like, I know when they announced the game change 2 tours before Battle Tour, I had just, I had 4 categories cleared out in my shop, and I was like, I'm gonna spend all of my 17 quick tickets that I have saved up over the next 2 tours, because I know my shop is good. They may change something. They seem to do every 6 months or so something, they add new items to the daily selects, or they increase the levels or something like that. I was like, I know right now I have 4 categories. I don't know what it's gonna look like once they bring Battle Tour version 3. And yeah, now I only have 2 categories maxed out. So it seemed to work. I got 13 tickets last tour. So
yeah, Edito asked us something similar about a month ago. I said, hey, depends on how much he had maxed, and it made sense for him, and he got a couple tickets. So yeah, but those days are past us. I think at this point in time, wait for that next moment where they're going to change things up for us and then go from there. Beer asks the question: what role do you see for coins in the new Mario Kart Tour economy? Especially since there are no more drivers, carts, and gliders in those in the tier shop. Should average players be trying to max out daily selects?
Average players, no. You have to be a really long time, sort of heavily invested sort of player, like just to think even, normals give you the highest chance of getting a ticket, more so than supers do. And maxing a high-end group 1 is just unrealistic, but also the percentage increase, if this is based on what like Hydra said way back, if that still applies, I would say if you are a strong player and you've got a decent account, then yeah, do your aim to do your normal gliders. But I would say that if you are someone who's way off that, like, let that happen sort of slowly in its own time. It's because it's a hell of a lot of tickets.
Yeah, I would say the normal gliders may be a little bit cheaper, but the super gliders may actually give you some value back, where you would be able to use that. Like an 8.3 super glider gives you coverage, and it's equivalent to a 6.2 high-end glider, and it's usable, versus you have the piranha plant parafoil or balloons or what, at level 8, and you never use it, but you spent 100 tickets or dupes or purchases to get it there. But the super gliders, actually, even for my account, like, they have coverage. Like, maybe Karim, maybe StudFit, you guys don't use them ever, but I do use the super gliders every so often. So you'll get something in return, at least, spending it on those.
Here's quite a funny little thing. Guess what I've been doing? Because whenever I'm grinding XP on a track, I was like, well, what I might as well do? I might as well use my super cap tickets. So I've been slowly taking everyone to single cap and then double capped. So I've got like 6 super driver caps and like 9 super, because I've just spent them all because I was like bored when I was doing grinding XP. And now there's actually, with quad capping, I probably should have seen this coming, and I know Sammy said, I told you, but it's just like, oh, for God's sake. It's exactly, right when they made the quick ticket re-roll on that specific tour, I spent, and the week before that, I spent like 12 quick tickets. I'm like, I might as well, they don't do anything. And I even wrote to Nintendo, I was like, Nintendo, please, can you, I didn't know this was going to happen. Can you give me back my quick tickets? Oh dear. Yeah.
So I would say for the limit is probably if you can buy all high-end tickets from the tier shop and still have coins left, then invest into the daily selects. But I think for everyone else, it's not worth it. So I did the math back then when in the mid tour, and decided that for me as the GP Gold Pass only, it wasn't worth it. And I just did the math again yesterday, I think, because I saw actually my normal gliders, they used to be all maxed at 7 before the mid tour. And I was thinking, actually it's getting close, maybe it would be worth it. But then I really thought calculated how many coins it would cost me, how many high-end tickets I would need to bring a shop high-end to 8. So now there's PGP, which might be a good option, but before that it was, I don't know, the tropical glider or something which I really didn't want to. And then once you do that, you're going to, like, essentially every ticket that you get from daily selects sort of saves you 3,000 or 2,000 coins compared to if you buy it at the tier shop. And I thought really for it to pay off, for me to get back my investment, I would need to have it all maxed out for, I think, 10 months from now, and by then we'll surely have level 9 and it will all go to waste again. So I think for the average player, it's just not worth it, and you should just buy the tier shop tickets.
Yeah, good call there.
So if I could disagree a little bit, just a little bit. So my wife just started a brand new account, and a goal one immediately was daily selects to get all of the common gliders up. Luckily that hasn't changed, so she can start seeing more tickets in the shop. Saying that, she's gotten more in the shop since Bowser than I've gotten on my account by like 10 probably. So it's been pretty good for her. But you know, the other thing is DK, because of, you know, you hit to get tokens. We took that up to a high level 2, more chances of getting it, just, you know, better more, you know, balance of playing the game compared to doing other things. So I think that, you know, the game ultimately comes down to high-end tickets. So what's the fastest way to get high-end tickets in your shop? It's still the same way. Luckily right now for a lot of people that, you know, I'm about to have commons maxed out, and I don't know if I'm going to continue personally, but for my wife, I know that it's a lot, but she's been saving her coins only for high-end tickets, and since the shop opened, and for the DK alt, and for the common drivers or gliders. Other than that, she hasn't spent any of her coins on anything. She's at like 150,000. And you know, so she's got quite a bit. Now it's going to take a lot more than that to max out the daily selects, but that's where, you know, getting more and more coins as you go along is there. So I would still recommend that players, especially new players, focus on what we knew all along, which is the common gliders is the fastest way to tickets. The supers, yeah, they're going to help you more. I do agree with Bob, but yeah, it's really ultimately what's going to help your account in the long run, but what's going to help your account more than getting more high-end tickets, you know.
Yeah, I personally would say let's not think too much about normals versus supers. My thing is let's just focus on gliders. You know, normals, supers, just focus on gliders and max those out. Because I mean, it's gonna take me a long time. It's probably gonna take me 3 or 4 months to max out my carts, like my normal carts or super carts. Like it's not gonna be easy for me to do that. I couldn't imagine someone else thinking that they have to, you know, focus on their normal carts. So anyway, gliders, that's the section I would kind of steer people to. But in sake of time, I'm actually going to kind of transition the question to kind of keep one thing we're talking about, which is high-end tickets. High-end level tickets are, and even cap tickets too, but like this is our number one resource. Like this, what you want in the game, you're going to be more successful the more tickets you have. And I know I was actually talking with Stanley earlier today. He's coming close on 100 tickets of everything, high-end wise. He's just a big saver. And so, you know, his perspective is he goes for a top 10. He's going to have anything he wants quad capped, and he's going to be able to do that. So like that is the point where, you know, the more saving you do, and especially around those high-end level tickets, whether it's in your daily selects or whether you get it from premium challenge, whatever it is, like that is our top resource. So knowing that we no longer have, say, like special pipes, and now we have these like quad caps, let's just talk about the meta. Like, how is the introduction of quad caps and also the removal of special pipes, where some of us were leveling things up because we knew that there were really good high-end odds? How are you approaching tickets in general to build your account, and how is this impacting our meta?
I would say for me, I'm not going to quad cap anything. Maybe I will be, you know, Gold Me or Coinblock. It's the fact that they gave those 30 extra base points to the triple cap just makes triple capping so much more appealing. If they didn't do that and that was given to the quad cap, I would be having a much more of a difficult, you know, thought process over this. At the moment, unless maybe I was, going for some top 10 run or something, karts and gliders, but saying that though, I remember when with triple capping, everyone was like, it's just pointless. Just why would you ever do it? And now it's actually so maybe at some point, if ADX 12 and not the 15 or 20 that we were anticipating, maybe at some point it will become more meta. But for me, and with all the resources that I have, it's not really crossed my mind. I've got driver cap tickets, and I'm deciding what the next triple cap. I'm not thinking about quad capping. That's just my take.
Yeah, I mean, I quad capped the gold me and the yellow Offroader, and then I'm like, I don't know if I want to do anything else. I'm thinking about the armored rider, and I'm debating. I'm like, no, I'm going to save them. I'm a little low. Like what Karim said, I thought it was hilarious that they just gave extra base points to the triple cap. Like, what is that? And then I'm like doing the math, and I'm like, okay, so you get 240 points on a high-end driver, or 240 points with 10 tickets, and you get 180 points with 12 tickets to go to quad cap. And it's like the math is like dumb. Like, what happened here? And then I'm like, is it possible that they would ever revert that? Like, they realize they messed up? I don't think they would, because now people have put tickets and raised base points and things. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, the quad cap is, I mean, you just look at it from a numbers perspective, it's not like economical to go for the fourth cap. It's better to triple cap other items with those 10 tickets than get less base points from more tickets on a single item. So
yeah, let me ask our resident mathematician, a turtle dude. You got this ticket optimizer. You're probably running this math as soon as it came out was like running through your head, like Rain Man. Like what's the best way to approach this? How have you thought about it? And is there any other mathematical thing you can do to break our brains?
I don't know. It's funny you mentioned the ticket optimizer, because I ran it with inventory of several people, and for pretty much everyone, it said that if you want to go for ACR this tour, you should quad cap Chef Mario, which probably nobody should do, but like on a very short term, it is probably worth it. I agree with Loblob that this jump, it's not very logical, but then again, the same happens if you go from double cap to triple cap. Like for triple cap, you get the same, like the amount of points, or I mean, it's not proportional to how points per ticket goes down as you cap more. So
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I in general, I don't think. I mean, first of all, I think that it's not going to be such a huge change to the meta, because I mean, we have the same discussion every time a new level or a new cap limit comes, and so far in the end people adapt, and it hasn't made any radical changes in how people approach the game. I think it's really cool that they added the 30 extra points to the triple cap. So now, for example, triple cap level 6 is better than a double cap level 7, which is again for people that don't spend that much. It's also like there are many people that have, especially in the free-to-play community, many people have level 6 triple capped, and that's actually a good thing. So yeah, I don't think many people should be quad capping, except unless you're going all in for some ACR, or it's just your favorite.
True. Yeah, it's worth doing if it's your vanity item. Like, it's the one thing that you like, and just whatever.
I like vanity item. That's a good title for it. What do you get?
Yeah.
What about you, KoopaV?
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna stick to quad capping Miis, because if you buy all the Miis, collect all the Miis, clearly you want those extra base points on your drivers. So quad capping just makes sense to me on specifically the Coinbox and the gold Mii, because just get the base points even higher, make the Miis even more overpowered, and get the advantage over other people in the ranked weeks.
We do have a lot of me fans here between Karim and Loblob and myself. We've all been kind of on the me train for quite some time.
King Boo this tour. So I could have quad capped gold or Coinbox. I triple capped the King Boo me suit, and oh god, what a pleasure!
He's a fun driver. Like,
You and Carlos, man.
Yeah. I mean, I did it on purpose though, like, you know.
Oh, too funny. Yeah, no, it's really interesting. I did quad cap the gold me just for that exact reason, KoopaV. I did the tropical truck just because it is that vanity item, but you know, in hindsight, would I've done yellow Offroader? I could have. But I think for me, it's like I want to be using the tropical truck as much as possible. So if every track it has, I'm able to use it, and it makes sense for me to use it like mathematically, then that brings joy to me to be able to do it that way. But yeah, I mean, I think most of you guys are right. My thought process on why they did it, it's like I wonder if they thought like, hey, maybe 10 was a little too much. Maybe we should have just like done 8 tickets instead to take it to triple cap. So like, why don't we give them more base points to like cover that? It's really weird that they only had 12 tickets to quad cap it. I don't know. That just seems like really low, even lower than some of our projections. So part of me wonders like, well, what if they're kind of like not nerfing the triple uncapping, but in a way like giving more base points to the triple uncap to kind of compensate for the fact that it probably should have been 8 all along. But I don't know. None of us work for Nintendo, so pure speculation there. But other impacts on the meta. So I kind of already alluded to this a little bit, but you know, special pipes for me, it was like one of my favorite moments to be able to take something. I mean, like say the Sakura Hop Rod, or you know, at the time it was Shy Guy Ninja, who I was able to take to like level 7 just from pulling that pipe. I mean, these moments are gone. I think a lot of that's, some of it can be negative, some of it can be positive. You know, for me, one of the things that's positive about not having special pipes anymore is I can take something to level 8 and not worry about it being in a pack or it not being in a pipe, and like having to avoid that pipe, having to avoid that pack, and like me knowing like, hey, I'm not worried about this leakage of having to now pull on this pipe and knowing that I have something at 8 and only getting coins in return. I don't know. It makes me a little bit more excited to take something up to a higher level, but that's my thought process. But you know, not having these special pipes, we haven't really talked about it much in our server per se, but and by not having a special pipe, does that impact the meta at all, or kind of how you approach the tickets?
I think the one interesting thing that I've thought a little bit about is that without the special pipes, and if an item is not in the pool of items in the gold pipes, which they expanded a lot, but like say like Mario Tuxedo, he's at level 6 and 2/5 of the way to level 7. Like at this point in the game, he's kind of probably frozen in time for me. Like I don't ever imagine a scenario where I'm going to put high-end tickets on Mario Tuxedo to get him to level 7. And I'm not going to be pulling him from pipes. So he is where he's at. And there's going to be a new item that comes along down the road that takes over for him. So like that is kind of a change without the pipes for people that pulled on special pipes to level items. Like, I don't know. That's something of a change. I don't know if it's good or bad or whatever. It's just what it is.
That's a great point.
That's a good point. I don't know, but there's also to the devil's advocate. Maybe it makes sense for you to take it all the way to 7, and now you have them as 7 cemented in time versus having those 2 or 3 tickets lost forever.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I mean, maybe if he was in ranked, he comes up in ranked, and there's not Gold Chuck or somebody new that's a bigger driver or something that shares that map with him. I could see, yeah, maybe it makes sense, but I don't know. There's going to be a lot of items for me personally that like, I know they're not coming around in a special pipe, like Mario Aviator or whatever is stuck at wherever he is. I'm sure they'll expand and add items to the pool of available items from a gold pipe, but your chances of getting any one particular item from that giant pool of 250 items or whatever it is are very small. So I don't know. That's my biggest change.
So this touches on OG Beer's question about like exclusivity, and that's how we judged things, and like special pipes, and but also like packs. Like the yellow Offroader came in a pack, and Tanooki Rosalina came in a special pipe, and you know, I have one that he didn't put on here, but I got the Fire Manta in a special pipe, and that thing's pretty much been dog garbage for me. Honestly, like it showed up maybe once in ranked or something, but like the fact that it didn't get a Ghost Valley too was really upsetting, and it didn't get Luigi Raceway either. So 6 new tracks, it did not touch one of them. So that was rough. So like I feel like it's going to be almost like that's our rolling the dice, and like you said, StudFit, taking it immediately to a level like 6 or 7 double capped, whatever it is, whether it be driver, kart, and glider. I think that you should store up your rubies and really make an investment. If it pops up, great. If it doesn't, move on. But again, store up your stuff for a little while, because there was somebody that put a really good comment in, I think it was your channel. It could have been Frenzy Fans channel, but it said, you know, on StudFit's, you know, your cart rundown. You said that, you know, the Cat Peach was really good for the account. And honestly, like, you know, how bad of an investment, that person didn't do it, but how bad of an investment would that have been now looking backwards on Cat Peach, even though she was like one of the top 3 drivers for quite a few weeks. So like, it's just really hard to know for sure. I'll just touch on GB's question. Like it's going to be really hard to know for sure. I think investments is going to be saving and really, you know, taking something up almost immediately. That don't throw 4 tickets on something or get it to a level 4, like get it to a level 6, utilize it. If it's a high skill, if it's a glider or cart that you can really use in a tour, and maybe save for that. That would be my recommendation. I'm not saying it's right, but.
All right, cool. Well, good. We're coming up on our 2 hours. I would like to just touch on one last question, which you kind of alluded to there from Beer. You know, previously we could make decisions about an item's future based on exclusivity. You know, whether it was paywalled like the yellow Offroader, or a spotlight item in a special pipe like Tanooki Rosalina, or a single item otherwise in a bad pipe like the Silver King. With paid item packs and gacha pipes gone, what other ways might we judge an item's future buff potential? And obviously, we always try to gauge this on the rundown. But you know, what are your thoughts here? You know, now that the word paywall is gone forever, what are your thoughts on items? You know, how do you invest in them? How do you kind of try to gauge the future potential?
So I think already before it was that's strategy didn't really work anymore. I mean, yes, we had the Silver King and so on, but like the Tanooki Rosalina was, I think, the last good non-spotlight. I mean, we still don't know about King Mario and Gold Chuck, but in the meantime, there was the Sakura Hop Road and many others that weren't really very special. There were also lots of carts in second week pipes that are not like the Tropical Truck was the only new item, and it's nothing spectacular. Same with others, like back then I remember I pulled on Cat Rosalina because I thought she was going to be the next ranked warrior, because everybody was going to pull Meowser, to go for Meowser, and in the end Meowser has better coverage than her. So I think that was already quite flawed from the beginning. So yeah, now it's just guessing, I guess. No, and
I think StudFit took that personally, by the way.
No, I also invested a lot in the Tropical Truck, but it's not paying off.
It's got a couple. I mean, the thing about like StudFit, anything you take immediately to level 8 or the highest level, whenever you know, it's gonna give you some value. It's gonna get whatever tracks. And like going back to like my Frozen in Time thing, this game's all about power creep. So eventually there will be a new best item that replaces your already high level item somewhere. Like, but
yeah, I will say kind of on the same point is, you know, say tie-dye dress, Daisy tie dress, she and like the Tropical Truck and a couple other items, when we were seeing Coconut Mall and Vanilla Lake and Warrior Shipyard over and over and over again, it actually kind of kept her value because she didn't see tracks that would have been brought back. So it kind of stalled seeing those tracks being brought in, but then also where she had great coverage, she kept having great coverage. And so, you know, for me, actually, the tropical truck was a baller during that period of time where I was going for the top 10 a couple times in a row. But yeah, tie dress and tropical truck and a couple other items that came out, maybe even Fire Manta too. They still have a lot of tracks to see, over 100. So, you know, from that perspective, it's still kind of it's kind of obscurely early in their coverage. But with 15 cups, we'll probably get to see all those items relatively quickly. We'll see how that turns out. But there we go. In fact, I kind of had that question. Why do you think they added 15, moved from the 3 additional cups in all cup ranking? Why do you think they did that?
I think to give people more of more something to do. I mean, my wife literally like just did her last cup. She actually put 1 ticket on and did it yesterday, so it would have been today for her. So, you know, it gets really boring for a lot of people 2 weeks in, and I think they want to keep people kind of engaged and stuff like that. So just I think it was another way to add that in for ACR players. It probably frustrated them a little bit, but you know, a lot of people are going to hit 2 million now that haven't yet, so that's good.
Cool, guys. Well, I think from this perspective, we now hit 2 hours. Can you believe it? We've now 2 hours of Kart Talk. It flies by. It's so cool to have you guys all here. So what we'll do is we'll do just a brief time for you to be able to say goodbye to those who just tuned in and some of your fans. But then also, if you can, give one piece of advice to a newer player. We've actually had a number of newer players either subscribe. I'd say probably about 60% of the people who watch my content are returning viewers. That's what YouTube tells me. So I have like new players or people at least new to the channel that tune in every so often. So what would be one piece of advice that you would give to a newer player, someone who maybe started in the last 3 to 6 months? So we'll actually start in reverse order of how we introduced everyone. I'll make sure Loblob goes last, but KoopaV, what would you say to a newer player that's starting out? What recommendation would you have to them? And then say goodbye to all those people who've been loving your data mining.
Well, for a new player, I'd say that it is really important that you keep following the advice which comes from the YouTubers and the people who break down the strategies of how you should spend your rubies, how you should spend your coins, because approaching the game without any of that knowledge and just trying to go straight in, you'll end up buying the wrong things. You'll end up spending your rubies on useless items which won't be useful in the future. So if you take the advice which come from the people of all the experience, it will really benefit your account.
Like the tropical truck. All right, now aturtledude, what recommendations would you have for new players, and what would you like to do to plug your brand new apps that I absolutely have been loving this week?
I would just say to be patient in general, like to take time to save the rubies and save the coins until you understand more of the game and until good things come along. So there's, yeah, just try to not give in to the FOMO and that way you will make better decisions. And yeah, about the tools, yeah, I hope they're useful for people, and I'm always happy to help. Mostly, so they're based mostly on Kevin Garrett's Discord server, so where we'll have a few dedicated channels for them. But you can also reach me on Discord anytime.
Very cool. I already have a special project I'd like to work with you on for the next rundown. So we'll be in touch there. Have some ideas here, but yeah, Karim.
Does it involve how to figure out how the tropical truck becomes the #1 card in the game?
What can I do to manipulate the algorithm and put some seeds in the ear of Antilev? No, it's I don't mind just giving you a little preview. I was actually thinking about, you know how I did like the total coverage out of 277 tracks. I'd like to maybe just hone in on the tracks of 2022. And specifically maybe even list them too, because we kind of see the reoccurrence of some of these tracks that have come out this year. So I don't know, it might be good to kind of look in that lens and just
that's already possible in the app. So I actually added it like a week ago. So now there's a drop-down menu where you can select the tour where you want to start considering tracks. So you can just take New Year's 2022 or whatever, and then you get different results.
Yeah, so using that filter, that's kind of what I'd like to do, and mainly just because these tracks keep coming over. So I don't really care about the Neo Bowser City. I don't really care about the Shy Guy Bazaar. I don't really care about some of these older tracks. Let me know, where Mushroom Gorge, or let me know where these tracks that might be useful here, that have been out this year. So I don't know. That's my perspective. We'll see. We'll see if it becomes too tough to get to. But Karim, thanks again for joining us. Happy early birthday. What a piece of advice. I know you've probably given this different versions of different spiels over the last year pretty extensively, but anything left, any stone unturned, any suggestions you'd have for newer players?
Obviously, there are a myriad of things, but I think it's important to establish what type of player you are, as in how much are you going to invest. If you're a low resource investor, then you might prioritize coverage. If you're and then if you're a bit more, you might want to start thinking about, okay, I want to get to 4 double cap or 6 double caps. And then the more whalish you get, like if you're very whalish, you might prioritize large carts and just Coinbox or whatever. So I think you need to know kind of how you're going to play this game. Of course, there's a whole other strategy. Don't buy brooms. Canuck Zoom Room, fantastic coverage, useless cart, do not do it. My entire account is basically now based upon how can I, as quickly as possible, replace it. Because I went straight in on it 7 double caps. So that would be my thing. Am I saying my goodbyes? Because if so, I wanted to say, well, I love having a chat with Loblob. He's I could chat all day long. It was nice to meet Bobcat. KoopaV, who I've been hearing about for so long. I'm so happy to see that he's from the other side, but he's from England, so I'm very happy to hear that. And aturtledude, thanks a lot for all the stuff you brought. I love your library behind you. I want to pull a book out and like an entrance, just sort of like a secret entrance up here. You can just tell he's a smart guy just looking at his background. So thanks to especially to KoopaV and aturtledude, because I don't know where I would be without the stuff that they bring. So it's been a pleasure, and yeah.
Oh, don't forget a special person named Hero who sent you this special gift.
Well, last time said to say that to all my fans, and I think I said my only fan is Hero. It goes almost without saying. He got when I couldn't remember his birthday, but he remembered mine. I'm gonna have to do something very nice for Hero. He actually, he's a great guy, Hero, and I'm very appreciative of all the support. Whenever I've gone for top 10, he's always in there backing me. So thanks.
Good. Loblob, are you free now? Can you give a piece of advice to a newer player and say your goodbyes as well?
Yeah, I would say, Drew, thanks for the nice words. Of course, this group has been awesome. So it's been a fun one to be a part of, and thanks StudFit for reaching out. And congratulations again on 2000. I know, what's the first milestone where YouTube starts sending you things? Is it 10,000 subscribers or?
Oh, I don't know about that, man. That's a good question.
No, well,
it's so far in the distance. Probably there at 10,000. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so advice for new players, I would say, just find what you enjoy about the game and play it, learn the game. If you're new to Mario Kart Tour and you played Mario Kart on the various consoles, the game is slightly different. It's not just about getting first place, and just enjoy the game and save your resources. That's definitely a great point that aturtledude brought up. Like, until you really understand what's going on and see items that look tempting, but maybe they're not great for you to start with. So just save for a little while until you figure things out.
Yeah, so far this panel, there's been two common ones. Obviously, one being save your items, save your resources, save your tickets. And then two, just have fun. I think if you combine them, you kind of say what Karim said, but I want to take that one to the next level, which is, find out who you are. I think to kind of go full circle on all three of those comments is you can't get everything, and I think if you accept that you can't buy everything in the spotlights, you can't buy everything in the daily selects, you can't buy everything, you can't get everything, you can't level everything up. To go to the point of Carlos saying you can't max out your account unless you spend $650,000. Like, you cannot have everything. So do what pleases you. But you have to forego something. Decide what that foregoing is.
Yeah, I would say if you're trying to prioritize points, like to win ranked, look at the track that has the most actions. And if you need to buy a spotlight shop item that gives you top shelf coverage on one of the three, find the one that is the track that has the most actions. You're going to get the most points per ruby or ticket or whatever if you're making investments, if you're really just starting out and trying to optimize. So
yeah, solid advice there. Bobcat, what would you like to say to your fans and he's a super stud, and also what piece of advice would you give to a new player?
I don't know how many fans I have. I feel like this is a reference that not many people get. I feel like Dusty Crop Hopper. I have like one maybe out there. So hey to you. Really, really happy to meet all the new people here and things like that. I mean, it's just really fun to be a part of a community where we get to do stuff like this and talk about what interests us for sure. I'd say my advice, I mean, everyone's advice was great, but I don't think this game's going anywhere. I think a lot of people are like, is this the end for Mario Kart? I was like, I decided to run some simple numbers and leave people with that. So if there was a whale spending $1,000 a tour, $1,000 a month on the game, and you can attest, I don't know exactly how much it went up to, but I think 450 to around 500 is probably where it maybe capped out, depending on if there was like some $7 packs and things like that. But if you were just getting like the packs in the shop and there's 20,000 whales, that comes out to about $20 million that Nintendo's going to miss out on. Where if they can get 30 million people, and there are a lot of people playing this game, lots of people that have a certain amount that they can spend, to just spend $25 more per month, just per month. That's $750 million. So their strategic effort is going to continue this game, I think, for a long time. I think it's going to give us a lot more stuff. And I'm just really excited to see how it continues to grow and develop. I want to end on a positive note because, there's been a lot of negative things out there, but like there's a lot of good things that happen, and the balance of people's lives in this game. Remember, your life comes first, and there's other people out there and things like that too, or spend some time in the community and talk more about it and things like that. But just enjoy, have fun, and yeah, it'll be here. So don't worry about if you're investing it. The game's going to stick around for a while, so that's good news.
I like it. Good. Yeah, as we wrap up, I think one of my piece of advice for somebody, if we think about like drivers in the Spotlight shop, they're 150 rubies. You can get a me for 70 rubies. It's not too late to jump onto the me train. Don't like
no StudFit. I'm not doing it.
It's not too late. It's not too late. The rubies are calling you in. But yeah, guys, don't be afraid of those me's. I'm just putting it out there. It's not too late to jump on the me train. All right. So with that being said, we'll sing happy birthday to Karim. All right, you guys ready? 3, 2, 1. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. That's it. All right, see you guys.
See you later. It's too slow.